All right, guys, welcome back to Formula One News. We've got a major update today on the future of Adrian Newey. There's been speculation for a long time now that Newey's next destination was most likely to be Ferrari. But after recent rumors that he visited the Aston Martin and McLaren facilities, that Ferrari move now seems to be off the table. Reports from both sides suggest it's simply not going to work out over the coming months. What does this mean for Ferrari's future, especially given their current massive decline? Is that part of Newey's decision? And what does Lewis Hamilton think about this whole situation? Loads of stories to dive into today. But first, let's talk about the RB17, this newly designed hypercar, which is one of the most incredible pieces of engineering and, frankly, artwork I've ever seen. Look at this image. We'll come back to it in a second, but first, let's go through some others. Firstly, just to make it clear, this is the Aston Martin Valkyrie. Newey also worked on the design of this, and when it came out, I was like, wow, this is stunning. But then you compare it to the RB17, and it's on a whole different dimension in terms of hypercar design. I'm sure, in terms of lap time, the RB17 is going to blow everything on the planet out of the water, apart from basically an F1 car. Newey has talked about this car for a long time. This was effectively his final project for Red Bull before moving on to something else. It's so Newey in so many ways. Look how aggressive it is on the side, how close it's running to the floor, how limited the space is going to be in the cockpit for the driver. It's also massive. You don't really get the perspective here, but it's unlikely to be road legal. This is what's possible if there were no restrictions from the FIA. Newey basically said the RB17 is pushing the boundaries of everything we've learned over the last 20 years of Formula One into one car. It's also a piece of art. One thing to note is the downforce to drag ratio of the car. A modern F1 car has something like a 4-to-1 downforce to drag ratio. Newey reckons with the right tires, this can go just as fast as an F1 car. Let's get back to Newey in a second, but there's other drama on the Red Bull side. During the Austrian Grand Prix weekend, Jos Verstappen was meant to pilot an RB8, but Horner said no. Jos went apoplectic with rage and has tried to get Max to leave for Mercedes. Christian Horner is now driving the RB8 at Goodwood, which probably didn't sit well with Jos. And let's talk about Sergio Perez. Helmut Marko confirmed recent rumors. Perez got his 2-year contract extension, but his future depends on the next couple of rounds. He needs to be within 100 points of Max Spa, otherwise the exit clause in his contract could be triggered. As of now, he's 137 points behind Max. Marko says there will be an evaluation during the summer break. If Perez doesn't close the gap, Red Bull might consider someone else. Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda, or even Daniel Ricciardo could be options. Speaking of Lawson, he tested at Silverstone recently, and it was underwhelming. He was about 0.2 off Verstappen's benchmark time. Conditions and other factors play a role, but it wasn't the standout performance Red Bull was hoping for. There's also talk about Arvid Lindblad in Formula 3, only 16 years old and doing really well. Helmut Marko implied both Lawson and Lindblad are on a similar time frame for a potential Formula 1 seat in the future. Now, let's talk about the teams struggling and who they might need to fix their problems. Aston Martin is in a bit of a crisis. They've dismantled their floor in an attempt to gain performance. Meanwhile, Ferrari's performance has regressed significantly since the start of the season. Their upgrades have introduced bouncing phenomena back into their car, which has derailed their progress. Given Adrian Newey's expertise in ground effect eras, there's an argument that Ferrari really needs Newey's help, especially going into 2026. However, recent rumors suggest that Newey might not be heading to Ferrari. Instead, McLaren or Aston Martin seems more likely. Ferrari executives are not keen on a bidding war for Newey, focusing instead on finding a replacement for their technical director, Enrico Cardile, who left for Aston Martin. Newey's decision is expected in about 2 months. If he joins McLaren or Aston Martin, it would be a big deal. McLaren seems slightly more likely due to Newey's history with the team and rumored dissatisfaction with Lawrence Stroll's methods at Aston Martin. What do you guys think? Will Adrian Newey join McLaren or Aston Martin? How will Ferrari cope with their current challenges? And what's next for Sergio Perez and Red Bull? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.